My family line ends with me. Raphael Parrish, legendary alpha of the Moonstone Pack, sat surrounded by ambitious families and their daughters. 30 years of rejections. Every noble she-wolf deemed unworthy. Lori Byram adjusted her silk gown, confidence radiating. Tonight would be different. She'd orchestrated everything. The private meeting, influential witnesses, and the sleeping draught laced with bonding pheromone in Raphael's teacup. One sip and he'd be compromised. He'd have no choice but to claim her. Master Raphael, your tea is ready. Naira Shan entered in plain gray servant's garb, carrying the kettle. Just another maid, invisible, unremarkable. Lori smiled. Perfect. Let the servant deliver the poisoned cup. No one would suspect. Bring me the tea, Raphael commanded without looking up. Master, let me... Lori reached for the cup. Raphael's head snapped up. His wolf exploded. The mate bond, dormant for 3 decades, roared to life with such ferocity, his alpha power flooded the hall. Every wolf submitted, dropping to their knees, except Myra, frozen mid-step, the teacup trembling. Raphael rose, his massive frame radiating primal recognition. His eyes flashed molten gold. Mine. He crossed the space in 3 strides. What? Myra gasped as his hand closed around her wrist. You, Raphael's voice was rough, barely controlled. You are mine. His claiming bite silenced her protests. The ancient mark seared into her throat before the entire assembly. Pack elders, visiting wolves, and one stunned Lori Byram, watching her poisoned tea crash to the floor. The alpha, who had rejected countless nobles for 30 years, had just claimed a servant girl. Lori's plan shattered, but worse, far worse, was the terror flooding her veins, because she knew what Myra didn't. This wasn't just any maid Raphael had claimed. This was the true daughter of the Qui family. The stolen heir Lori had replaced. The girl whose identity, whose life, whose everything Lori had been living for 20 years. And now, the one wolf powerful enough to expose the truth had just marked her as his mate. The claiming bite that should have been Lori's salvation had just become her death sentence. The tea house erupted in chaos. Lori's scream cut through the stunned silence like a blade. No, this is impossible. She lunged forward, stopped by her brother Art's iron grip. That servant, that nothing, she can't be... Control yourself, Art hissed. They'd spent years positioning Lori as the perfect Luna candidate. A maid had stolen everything in seconds. Raphael's alpha command silenced the room. Anyone who questions my mate questions me. His arm tightened around Myra's trembling form. Elder Morrison stepped forward cautiously. Alpha Raphael, the pack requires a Luna. I have claimed mine. But her bloodline is none of your concern. Lady Byram recovered first, her smile poison sweet. Of course, Alpha. The one must wonder what talents this young woman possesses to have captured your attention after all these years. The implication hung heavy. Dark magic, manipulation. Whispers rippled through the crowd. Did she bewitch him? What spell could trap an alpha? Mother, please. Lori's voice dripped false concern. Perhaps the poor girl didn't realize the tea she served was tainted. These village establishments can be so careless. The accusation was masterful, planting doubt while maintaining deniability. Raphael's growl vibrated through the floor. Enough. He lifted Myra without ceremony. She gasped, clutching his shoulders. Master Raphael, I can walk. You're Luna now. You don't walk through crowds of wolves who haven't sworn loyalty yet. His voice softened. Trust me. As he carried her toward his convoy, Myra caught Manager Jay's smirking face. The man who'd worked her like a dog looked triumphant rather than shocked. Why? The Moonstone Keep loomed against the night sky, Raphael's warriors lined the entrance, expressions ranging from confusion to hostility as their alpha carried a servant across the threshold no Luna had crossed in 3 decades. Beta Marcus approached. Alpha, the pack is unsettled. They'll adjust. Raphael set Myra down gently. Summon the council. My mate will be introduced as Luna at dawn. The Byrons are spreading rumors. They're calling her an enchantress. Some suggest she used forbidden magic. Myra flinched. Raphael's hand found hers. Let them talk. The mate bond doesn't lie. By morning, everyone will know. Anyone who threatens her answers to my wolf. But doubt flickered in every face. They thought she'd tricked their alpha. The terrifying truth? She wasn't sure they were wrong. The note arrived on the 3rd morning. Slipped under Myra's door. Elegant handwriting. Supposedly from Elder Morrison, requesting her presence in the old tea storage cellar for Luna protocols away from prying eyes. Myra should have questioned it. But 3 days of isolation had worn her down. Whispers that stopped when she entered rooms, servants avoiding her eyes, wolves looking at her like she was a disease. Maybe this was her chance to prove herself without hiding behind Raphael. The cellar was damp stone walls, dusty tea canisters, one flickering lantern. Empty. The door slammed shut. Well, the little enchantress came alone. Art Byram emerged from shadows, Manager Jay beside him, blocking the exit. Did you really think we'd let you destroy everything we've built? Terror flooded her veins. This was a trap. Obviously, you'll flee in shame, unable to handle Luna pressure. They'll find your body in the river tomorrow. Raphael will finally see reason. Manager Jay pulled a wicked blade. Should have stayed in your place, girl. Raphael will know. Raphael will grieve, then move on. Probably to my sister, once the mate bond madness wears off. They moved in tandem, predators cornering prey. Myra backed against cold stone, heart hammering. She'd never been a fighter, never trained. Art lunged, blade flashing. The cellar door exploded inward like thunder. Raphael's wolf had sensed his mate's terror through the bond. What entered was no longer entirely human. Eyes blazing pure gold, alpha power so intense the air vibrated. His partial transformation was terrifying, claws extending, fangs elongating, radiating murderous intent. Touch her and die. Manager Jay tried to run. Raphael's clawed hand caught his throat, slamming him against the wall hard enough to crack stone. Who sent you? Jay twisted free and bolted through a side passage, disappearing into the tunnels. Art wasn't fast enough. Raphael lifted him effortlessly. You attempted to murder my Luna. Give me one reason I shouldn't tear you apart. It wasn't just us. The whole family. My mother planned it. We can't let the truth come out. What truth? Art's eyes widened, realizing he'd said too much. The Kui family. The girl. She's not... His body convulsed. Foam bubbled from his lips. Poison capsule hidden in his teeth rather than reveal more. Raphael turned to Myra immediately, gathering her into his arms. You are safe. I have you. But his mind raced. Art's dying words confirmed his suspicions. His conspiracy centered on the Kui family name. Lori Byram arrived at the keep with noble she-wolves and half the council, her mourning black deliberately chosen. She swept into the hall during morning assembly. I demand a formal Luma trial. Raphael's hand tightened on his throne's armrest. Denied. You cannot deny pack law, Alpha Raphael. Lori's smile was sharp as broken glass. Any wolf may challenge Aluna's worthiness if there's reasonable doubt. And given the circumstances, reasonable doubt is all we have. Agreement murmured through the gathered wolves. Elder Morrison stepped forward reluctantly. Alpha, she's correct. If there's evidence of deception, coercion, or unworthiness, Raphael finished coldly. There is none. Isn't there? Lori's gaze swept to Myra in borrowed finery that didn't quite fit. A servant with no bloodline, no training, no accomplishments. She appeared from nowhere, served you poison tea. Yes, we all know about the sleeping draft. And suddenly you're claiming her? That sounds exactly like coercion. Well, the tea was yours, Myra said quietly. Every eye turned. You drugged it. I was just supposed to serve it. Prove it. Laurie's expression was triumphant. You can't. A Luna trial. 3 tests: combat, strategy, and bloodline heritage. If she passes, I'll accept her. If she fails, her smile widened. She steps aside for someone suitable. The council exchanged looks. This was clearly a trap, but pack law was pack law. Elder Morrison cleared his throat. The challenge is valid unless the Luna declines. I accept. Myra's voice was stronger than she felt. She couldn't keep hiding behind Raphael. Myra. Raphael turned to her, concerned. I can do this. As Laurie outlined trial terms with barely concealed glee, something strange happened. The words bloodline heritage triggered a flash so vivid Myra gasped. A grand estate with jasmine gardens, delicate silver teacups, a woman's loving voice calling, "Little Quee Blossom, come have your tea." The hull spun. More images flooded in. Child's laughter in ornate corridors, the weight of a jade pendant, gentle hands braiding her hair. Are you quite well, Luna? Laurie's mocking tone barely registered. Raphael was at her side instantly. What's wrong? There's something, a house with gardens. Someone called me. Called you what? Little Quee Blossom. The words escaped before he could stop them. But that's impossible. I'm not. She caught the flash of recognition in Laurie's eyes. Just for a moment, before contempt slid back, it was pure terror. Raphael saw it too. His gaze sharpened, predatory. The trial is postponed. 1 week. His mate wasn't just some servant. She was someone important enough to murder for, to steal from, to erase completely. And he was going to find out exactly who. The cottage stood at territory's edge, half hidden by vines and deliberately forgotten. Raphael tracked the name Quee through old records until he found 2 listed as exiled for sedition 20 years ago, Kay Quee and Koi Quee. An elderly woman answered, silver hair braided neatly, eyes sharp. She took one look at Raphael and smiled sadly. So, the Alpha finally comes asking questions, 20 years too late, but better than never. You're Koi Quee. I am, and you're the fool who claimed my niece without knowing who she was. She stepped aside. Come in. You'll want to sit for this. Inside, an aged man sat by the fire, hands trembling. Uncle Kay looked up, tears filling his eyes. Is it true? You claimed little Myra, our little Quee Blossom? Raphael's wolf stirred at the familiar name. Tell me everything. Aunt Koi poured tea, voice steady despite grief etched in her face. The Quee family was founding bloodline. Ancient, powerful, respected. Myra's parents controlled vast estates, held council seats. The Byrons were nothing. Servants risen through cunning and ruthless ambition. What happened? Murder. Uncle Kay's voice broke. 20 years ago, the Byrams poisoned the entire household during Harvest Moon Feast. My brother, his mate, guards, loyal servants, everyone who knew the truth, everyone except us. We were away on pack business. Aunt Koi's teacup rattled. When we returned, we found bodies and lies. The Byrams had seized the estate, claiming legal transfer before the tragic accident. Forged documents, bought witnesses, and most damning, they had Myra. Choose 4, Uncle Kay whispered. They hired a witch to suppress her memories, make her forget who she was, then placed their daughter, Laurie, in her identity, dressed in Myra's clothes, wearing Myra's jade pendant, living Myra's life. Raphael's claws extended involuntarily. And the real Myra? Reduced to a servant, stripped at her name, heritage, her very self. They kept her close. Insurance, or just cruelty. We tried to fight, expose the truth, that the Byrams had consolidated power. We were exiled as seditious liars. The mate bond is breaking the curse, Raphael said slowly. True love always does. Aunt Koi met his gaze. The memories are returning. The Byrams know this. They'll kill her before letting truth surface. They've already tried. They'll try again. Uncle Kay pulled a wooden box from beneath his chair. We've kept evidence. Journals, letters, The real Qui family seal. Everything to prove Myra's identity and the Byram's crimes. I'm the Alpha. Raphael took the box, expression hardening. And they just declared war on my mate. The Qui estate loomed against twilight, overgrown and abandoned, its grand facade crumbling from 2 decades of neglect. Myra stood at the gates, Raphael's presence at her back, and felt something deep inside recognize this place. I lived here, she whispered. I was happy here. Raphael handed her Uncle Kay's key. Take your time. I'll keep watch. The interior smelled of dust and ghosts, but beneath decay, traces of beauty. Faded tapestries depicting wolf ancestry, shattered porcelain, the skeleton of a jasmine garden through broken windows. Her feet carried her upstairs without conscious thought, muscle memory guiding her to the master bedroom, her mother's bedroom. The memories flooded back now, the mate bond having shattered most of the witch's curse. The false panel was exactly where memory told her, behind the ornate mirror. Myra's hands trembled as she pressed the hidden catch. Inside lay a leather journal, a jade pendant, and a sealed letter addressed to my daughter should the worst come to pass. Myra sank to the dusty floor and began to read. Her mother's elegant script detailed everything. The Byram's growing resentment, subtle threats, attempts to borrow money that became demands. Then, chilling final entries. Lady Byram asked about the ancient pact documents today. I refused. She smiled, but her eyes promised murder. And finally, if you're reading this, my darling Blossom, then I am gone and you are in terrible danger. The documents I've hidden prove the Byrams have been secretly selling pact secrets to rival territories. They will kill anyone who threatens to expose them. Trust no one but Kay and Coy. Reclaim what is yours. Tears blurred Myra's vision. Her mother had known, had tried to protect her. Behind the journal were documents, correspondence between Lady Byron and enemy pacts, promises of territorial information for gold, maps of Moonstone defenses sold to the highest bidder. Treason. Not just murder and theft, but active betrayal of every wolf in the territories. This doesn't just destroy the Byrams, Myra breathed. This could start a war. A floorboard threat downstairs. Raphael's warning growl echoed through the estate. We're not alone. 3 wolves in Byram colors had been watching. The lead spy's eyes widened when he saw what Myra carried. She found it. The mistress needs to know. He didn't finish. Raphael's claws found his throat, but the other 2 scattered, racing into the forest. They'll report to Lori, Raphael said grimly. She'll know you have the evidence. The Byram's timeline had just accelerated. Lori would strike now, desperately, with everything she had. The Luna trial was about survival. Only one would walk away. The emergency council convened at dawn, tension choking the air. Raphael had called the meeting to present evidence, but Lady Byram arrived first, composed and regal, playing concerned matriarch perfectly. Before this tragic business, Lady Byram's voice dripped sympathy. I've brought refreshments. We may be here a while. She personally served ceremonial wine, an old tradition symbolizing unity and trust. Myra watched from beside Raphael's chair, unease coiling. Something about how Lady Byram's hand lingered over Raphael's cup, the too bright smile, calculated movements. Don't drink it, Myra said suddenly. Every head turned. Lady Byram's expression flickered before smoothing. My dear Luna, are you suggesting? I'm suggesting you poisoned it, just like you poisoned my parents 20 years ago. The council erupted. Lady Byram's mask cracked, revealing cold fury. Outrageous. These delusions prove... Raphael lifted his cup and sniffed. His eyes flashed gold. Nightshade, wolfsbane, and something else. The same combination used on the Qui family. You can't prove. Your daughter's spies reported Myra found evidence. You panicked. Decided to eliminate the threat at its source. Raphael's voice dropped to a lethal growl. Did you really think you could poison an alpha in his own hall? Lady Byram's composure shattered. You don't understand what we built. The Quees were weak, complacent, sitting on power they didn't deserve. We took what should have been ours. You murdered innocent wolves, stole a child's identity, sold pack secrets to our enemies. Raphael rose, alpha power flooding the room. And now you've committed treason by attempting to assassinate your alpha. If you'd just accepted Lori, none of this would be necessary. But you had to claim that thing. Lady Byram's finger jabbed toward Myra. She was supposed to die in servitude, forgotten, erased. The confession hung in the air, witnessed by every council member. Guards, Raphael commanded, arrest her. But Lady Byram lunged for Myra, hidden blade appearing. If I'm going down, you're coming with me. Raphael intercepted, but not before the blade grazed Myra's shoulder. The poison on its edge burned like liquid fire. Myra collapsed, gasping. Raphael caught her, his roar of fury shaking the keep's foundations. Lady Byram crumpled under his alpha command, bones breaking. Get the healers. Raphael's hands pressed Myra's wound, sharing strength through the bond. Stay with me. Don't you dare leave me. Through the pain, Myra saw Lady Byram's broken form, the horror on council faces, evidence scattered around them. She confessed, Myra whispered. Everyone heard. I don't care about confessions. I care about you. Justice was coming, even if Myra didn't serve life to see it. Myra woke 3 days later to Raphael asleep in a chair beside her bed, his hand wrapped around hers, dark circles beneath his eyes. He hadn't left her side. The healers had worked miracles, but the experience had changed something fundamental between them. When his eyes opened and found her awake, the relief flooding his face was so raw it made her chest ache. You're crying, she whispered. I almost lost you. His thumb traced her knuckles. I've waited 30 years for you. 3 days of not knowing if you'd wake felt like 3 lifetimes. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. He leaned forward, pressing his forehead to hers. I love you, not because fate chose you, not because you're my mate, but because you're brave and fierce and refuse to stay broken. Because you stood up knowing it could get you killed. Because you're you. Myra's breath caught. I love you too. The words came easily, because they were true. Somewhere between the claiming and now, the mate bond had transformed into something deeper, something chosen. But there was no time for tenderness. Lady Byram was imprisoned, but Lori remained free, and the Luna trial loomed. Raphael turned their chambers into a war room. Uncle Kay and Aunt Coy arrived under darkness, bringing additional evidence and their willingness to testify. We've hidden long enough, Uncle Kay declared. Myra deserves her name back. Her parents deserve justice. Beta Marcus pledged loyalty next, along with 24 trusted warriors. We don't care about bloodlines. We care that our Luna has more courage than Lori Byram has in her entire body. You want to fight for her? We're with you. The training began at dawn. Raphael taught Myra to fight, not like a practice warrior, but like someone fighting for survival. Dirty tactics, exploiting weaknesses, using her smaller size as an advantage. The combat test won't be fair, he explained. Lori will cheat, so you cheat better. Myra learned fast, driven by necessity and rage. She was reclaiming more than her identity. She was becoming someone who could defend it. On the 6th night, Myra stared at the jade pendant Uncle Kay had returned, her mother's pendant, the Quee family crest. I'm not just fighting for myself anymore, she said quietly. I'm fighting for my parents, for Uncle Kay and Aunt Coy, for every wolf the Byrams betrayed. Raphael pulled her close. Then we fight together, Luna and Alpha. Partners. Partners, she agreed, and kissed him with all the love and fury in her reclaimed heart. Let the Byrams come. Myra was ready. A harvest moon gathering drew wolves from every allied pack. Hundreds assembled in the sacred clearing where ancient pacts had first been sworn. A ceremonial hunt would demonstrate Luna worthiness before the gathered territories. Myra stood at the forest's edge, wearing her mother's jade pendant, feeling its weight like a promise. Lori Byram sneered from across the clearing, surrounded by hired rogues disguised as her honor guard. The horn sounded. The hunt began. Myra had barely entered the tree line when she smelled them. Over a dozen rogues, far more than rules allowed, spreading out to surround her. This wasn't a test. It was an execution. Did you really think we'd let you live? The lead rogue emerged, scarred face twisted in a mercenary's grin. Lady Byram paid well for your corpse. They attacked as one, a coordinated assault meant to overwhelm. Myra fought using everything Raphael taught her. Dirty, desperate, exploiting every opening. She took down 2 before sheer numbers forced her to the ground, claws tearing into her side. The rogue leader raised his blade for the killing blow, and the earth itself shook with Raphael's fury. His transformation was catastrophic. The massive alpha wolf that exploded into the clearing was larger than any natural wolf had right to be. Silver gold fur rippling with power, eyes blazing like molten suns. His roar shattered trees. The rogues didn't stand a chance. Raphael tore through them like paper. Within moments, the forest floor was painted red, survivors fleeing in terror. Raphael shifted back, pulling Myra into his arms. I have you. You're safe. He carried her back to the clearing, where every pack leader and elder had assembled. Lori stood frozen, confidence crumbling, as Raphael laid the evidence before them. Journals, documents, testimony. Uncle Kay and Aunt Coy stepped forward. Exile be damned. 20 years ago, the Byrams murdered the Quee family and stole everything. We have proof. That servant started this, Lori's voice cracked. She's lying. I am not a servant. Myra's voice rang clear. She touched the jade pendant. I am Myra Quee, true daughter of the Quee family, stolen as a child and replaced by an imposter. My parents were murdered. My identity was stolen, and the Byrams have spent 20 years selling pack secrets to our enemies. She presented her mother's journals, treason documents, genealogy proof. Pack leaders examined everything with growing horror. Alsa Cornelius spoke first. The evidence is irrefutable. This is treason against all our territories. The Byrams must answer, declared Elder Morrison. Lori lunged with a poisoned blade, her final, desperate play. Raphael caught her wrist mid-strike, grip crushing bone. You lose. The vote was unanimous. Exile for surviving Byrams. Restoration of the Queening. The stolen daughter had reclaimed her throne. The full moon rose over Moonstone Keep 3 nights after the Harvest Moon Reckoning, bathing ceremonial grounds in silver light. The Byrams were gone, exiled to barren territories where no pack would shelter them. The Quee estate was being restored. Uncle Kay and Aunt Coy had reclaimed their positions as honored elders. Myra stood in her mother's ceremonial robes in the garden where jasmine bloomed. Raphael found her there, wearing formal alpha regalia, but his expression was uncertain in a way she'd never seen. I need to ask you something, he said quietly, and I need you to answer honestly, without obligation or gratitude or any sense of debt. Myra turned to face him fully. Ask. The claiming. It happened so fast. I marked you before you could consent, before you even knew who you were. The mate bond chose for both of us. He took her hands, thumb tracing her knuckles. I want to complete the sacred Luna ceremony tonight. The proper bonding rites under the full moon. But only if you choose it. Choose me. Not as your rescuer or the alpha who protected you, but as your equal. Your partner. Your mate. Raphael. I love you, Myra Quee. Not because fate decided, not because my wolf recognized you, but because you're fierce and brave and refuse to let them break you. Because you fought for justice when you could have chosen revenge. Because when I look at you, I see my other half. His voice cracked. So I'm asking, will you bond with me? Not because you have to, but because you want to. Tears spilled over, joyful ones. You're right that the claim was fast, but everything that came after, that was a choice. I chose to trust you, chose to fight beside you, chose to love you not because of the mate bond, but despite it. Because you saw me as worthy when I couldn't see it myself. She lifted his hand to her heart. Yes, Raphael Parrish, I choose you. I choose this bond. I choose forever. The sacred ceremony began at midnight, witnessed by both packs and the restored Kui family. Ancient words spoken, ritual marks exchanged, blood oath sealed under the full moon's blessing. I waited 30 years for you, Raphael whispered. And I survived 20 years to find you, Myra replied. Their kiss sealed the bond, not the impulsive claiming of that first night, but something deeper, something chosen, something eternal. The best bonds weren't just fated. They were fought for, earned, chosen, and absolutely, completely worth the wait.
If alpha intensity, soulmate sparks, and thrilling wolf world secrets are your jam, subscribe now so you don't miss it. Fresh episodes drop every day, and the twists will have you hooked from the first howl.